was coming to me, and my platoon sergeant was coming to him. And as the three of us converged, my squad leader, Sergeant Trey Humphrey, stepped on an IED. When I regained consciousness, I look up, and my squad leader is missing his leg, and my platoon sergeant is bleeding out of both his ears and can't stand up. These are two of the men that I loved more deeply than, my biological family. And I got over to Sergeant Humphrey, and the first thing that any man is going to ask who has a lower extremity injury is, am I still going to be able to make a baby? He didn't ask it that way though. And I said, yeah, man, you're still in the fight. You still got your parts. You're good to go. And as soon as I assured him that, I said, hey, as soon as I told him that, the next thing he said is, sir, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I stepped on that IED. I should have known better. And I said, Humphrey, maybe now is not the time for an apology. And so we bandaged this Marine up, and we get him on the stretcher, the litter. And I'm carrying him at the head. There's four of us carrying this litter. And he keeps looking up at me, and he goes, sir, I know I'm heavy. Why don't you just put me down, take a break? I said, nah, Humphrey, I think we're gonna go ahead and keep pushing. And we walk another 10 meters. He goes, sir, I know I'm heavy. You guys take a break. Just put me down. He was a little bit heavy. He was maybe a little bit off weight standards. But some of the best are. And what makes this so remarkable, what makes this Semper Fidelis, is that this Marine, when we loaded him onto the helicopter, died in flight and had to be resuscitated twice in flight. And in the moments preceding his death, his thoughts weren't with himself. They were with the Marines who were carrying him, saying, I know I'm heavy, you put me down. That's Semper Fidelis. My platoon sergeant, who had his eardrums blown out, we loaded him on that bird as well. You okay? Okay. My platoon sergeant, a week later, comes off the helicopter back to the base, and I said, Staff Sergeant, what the hell are you doing here? He couldn't walk. He comes off the helicopter. I'm like, why are you back? He's like, sir, I'm good. I'll be on the next patrol. I'm like, Staff Sergeant, you're not good, and you're not going to be on the next patrol. He's like, I'll be on the next patrol, sir. Sure enough, he was on the next patrol. This is the same Marine who in Fallujah was shot when he was a squad leader with 3-5. He was shot in the ass. And he turned around. This is how hard this guy is. He turned around and said, hey, you all better stop throwing rocks back there. So he's in Fallujah, and he has a one-way ticket home. What does he do? He goes back to his squad and continues to lead his Marines in the most kinetic combat in Iraq. He's in the deadliest battle in Afghanistan. He's got an opportunity to go home. And what does he do? He comes back. He's Semper Fidelis. I'm going to tell one more story. I'm going to talk a story about a junior Marine, because that's what the Corps is all about.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
On November 24th, 2010, we were going out on a patrol. And at this point in the deployment, we had a squad of engineers attached to Kilo Company. So squad's got 13 Marines in it with a squad leader. That squad of engineers, 12 of the 13 of those Marines were killed in action or amputees. The last one of those was Lance Corporal Arden Benagwa. And Arden Benagwa on that day knew the outcome ahead of time. The engineers were walking point in a minefield. So the improvised explosive device, they would go out there and they'd have a metal detector, but the issue is that the IEDs didn't give off a metallic signature. So they actually didn't provide you really any safety. And so these Marines would walk out in front in minefields, in these IED fields, and every single one of them, amputee or killed in action. And on November 24th, Arden Benagwa, grabbed his metal detector, grabbed his rifle, put his pack on, and at the age of 18, walked to the front of that patrol. Never once did this junior Marine, this 18-year-old Marine, turn to me and say, "Sir, do you think someone else can take this responsibility for me today? Sir, do you think this burden is too heavy for me to carry?" He's done what the junior Marine has always done. And that's put his pack on, grab his rifle, and move to the sound of the guns. And on November 24th, Art Managua would go on his last patrol. And if I told Art Managua, "Hey, this is what's going to happen today," if I told him the consequence, if I told him the outcome ahead of time, he would still go. And every other Marine would still go. That's Semper Fidelis. So then the question for us tonight, the question that comes to mind, is what do we owe these Marines? I would argue everything. What we owe these Marines is a life worthy of their sacrifice. So let's celebrate them tonight and thank God that for a moment in time, we got to carry the colors of our country and our Corps. I'd ask you to raise your glasses and toast. Let's toast to the most savage motherfuckers to walk the earth, the United States Marines.